Welcome to my latest landscape and wilderness photography venture here in Tasmania. Today I'm heading down the west coast of Tasmania with Daniel Caraphilis, and we're taking an epic journey into Frenchman's Cap. We've just arrived to the starting point of Frenchman's Cap down here on the lovely west coast of Tasmania, and as you can see, the car park is abandoned apart from the two of us here at the moment. Usually this car park's quite full as it's a pretty popular tourist destination for internationals and locals alike to embark on this trip, but I think just the fact that it's the end of winter, we've had a dump of snow up in the highlands, has probably deterred a few people from setting foot on this trip. But as far as photography goes, the mood is absolutely amazing. I hope it doesn't rain for the next 3 to 5 days that we'll be out on this adventure. There's nothing worse than being stuck in the wilderness with no visibility for that amount of time, but the forecast is showing pockets of sunshine throughout the days. So we've just got our bags ready to go. As you can see over here, for a trip like this you'll need somewhere between 70 to 80 litre packs to get enough supplies in for the duration of this trip, so stay tuned for Frenchman's Cap. So we've just been walking a steady couple of hours now and just been through some wonderful looking rainforest here in Tasmania. There's been a few nice photographic opportunities of some misty mountains in the background, but for this trip I've only bought a 35mm lens just to cut the gear down. I've already got about 19 kilos on my back and I really wanted a minimalistic approach for this. I think just to enjoy this as a hiker and a photographer alone, you really need to be kind to yourself as well how much gear you do carry, as it can be very disheartening carrying a lot of gear just in sheer weight along this trail. So I do want to enjoy this trip, and you'll see some of the gear unfold as I make my way along, and you can see what minimalistic gear is really needed to be successful on a trip like this. Just made it through to about the 3.5 hour mark on the way here to Frenchman's Cap, and this truly is some of Tasmania's best example for wilderness coming through here. The level of greenness and the beauty of these old trees is just astounding. Just a mixture of old myrtle trees and sassafras, and a bit of rain at the moment as well, as you can see coming in. It appears we've made good timing. We've been walking a bit over 4 hours and it looks like we've arrived to the first hut, which is awesome. Might stop here for a bit of lunch, and I think we've decided to continue on to the second hut given the fact that it's only midday and the weather at the moment is a little bit wet, so I don't really feel like sitting around here for another 5 hours waiting for nightfall. So let's go and check out the hut and get something to eat. This is typical of what you would see in a Tasmanian hut, and the first thing you will appreciate is how dry it is in here. It's good protection from the weather. If you do come hiking into Frenchman's Cap, it's still advised you bring a tent, especially during the busy season. It's a first in, first get to bunk kind of scenario. These bunks are quite basic. Obviously you'll need a sleeping mat just to cushion the ply, and most importantly, what's got me interested today is this nice little kitcheny area just to set up and have something to eat. Just wanted to show you what a basic meal looks like on the trail, and to keep the weight down you really have to be minimalistic about what you eat, so you need food that's got lots of carbohydrates and lots of proteins. Obviously on the trail I just use this Tasmanian made beef jerky, which is really awesome, just to keep a little bit of energy up and keep some of the protein high as well, and it just adds a little bit of flavour as I go. And I've just got some foiled tuna here, which I put in these nice little wraps. So I'm going to enjoy this wrap and head back onto the trail and continue on to Frenchman's Cap. I've just taken my first image here on my way to Frenchman's Cap, and it's a sensational little cascade just off the side of the track. I am working fairly quickly. That sky's not too kind, and I didn't bring much rain protection for my camera gear. I have just taken one image, and I've taken it in portrait. The reason I've taken this in portrait is there's a little bit of debris just around the side of this frame here, and I just didn't want to have that as a lead in on the foreground for this image. So by swinging it round into the portrait orientation, I'm eliminating that distraction from this frame. I've also got a little bit of backlighting in this picture because it is in that vertical orientation, so it just adds a little bit more of a balance to this scene with the white cascading water in the foreground. What I do like though is I really like these branches that have fallen across the top of the cascade there, through here, and framed by nature itself. My exposures are ISO 100, and my shutter speed is at 1 second, and I've taken one at 4 seconds, and I'm shooting at f/16. I do believe this is going to be a good result, and it's also a very worthwhile little break before I climb up the plateau here. I just took a photo of this tiny little cascade, and due to the weather, just too hard to do a video diary and take a photo at the same time. I'll just talk you through what I just did. I got into this spot here, and I've shot it with a 35mm lens, and I've just used these two trunks just to help frame this picture. I have put a circular polarizer on just to cut some of the glare. There's not much glare, but what I really want to do is emphasize the really nice reddish colored water, which is caused by the tannin here in Tasmania, which I've talked about before. I shot it at f/8 at 4 seconds. When I got round to f/16 or above, it just got too long of a shutter speed in this rain, and it's just a chance of getting droplets on top of my circular polarizer was just too hard to avoid. I usually carry a rain shield, but just to keep my pack down, I've compromised on that, and I've had to try and work around this rain the best I can. Just on the way to Hoon Hut, and Tasmania, the weather is quite inclement at the moment. Exposure here is quite dramatic. I'm actually freezing in this spot here. There is snow predicted for late this evening, so I've got about an hour or so to the next hut. I'm not actually sure which side of this ridge it's on, so I could be on the exposed side, but my tip is it's on the less exposed side there. I really want to try and get some photography here for the rest of the day, but I think as mountain weather predicts, I'm going to be out of luck. I did manage to get a really cool picture of a stream about half hour ago, and I also got a really nice picture of a stand of pandanus in front of a nice big old myrtle tree, which looked quite amazing. I'll give you a look at that. Been hiking a solid 9 to 10 hours now, and this hut certainly is a sight for sore eyes. Visibility is almost non-existent, so playing a few little mind games on the way to the hut, wondering if we're on the right way, and turns out we are. This is a pretty high-tech looking hut, and up over the back there is where the mountain lies. So I don't think I'll be taking any landscape photography tonight, but hopefully tomorrow, as the weather says, it's supposed to be cloudy but clearing.